I'm I'm actually a little inclined to agree with you. I don't hate this season either. I think Nani has really been great in the drama
Yeah.
department. I think Sydney has been delivering. Turbo
Hmm.
is interesting in its own special way, but watching Theo and Olivia almost feels like a coming out party. So I'm not bored
Right.
with this season. It's long though.
And it is long, but okay, so here's the thing. It's long, but it doesn't feel like Final Reckoning and Vendettas. Like those felt
Those felt super long.
long. Um and some people are like, "Well, it's just not entertaining. It's kind of boring." And I'm sitting here and I'm like, "Did you not watch The Island? Did you not watch like Gauntlet 3 and Inferno 3, which really were like meh, like seasons like the problem is that our golden era, you know, we get Cutthroat to Dirty 30 is so good almost the entire time that anything post like that, and then it caps off with War of the Worlds 1 and 2, and then it seems like it slowly kind of goes downhill a little bit, is what it feels like. But I would say this season is just as entertaining as Battle of the Eras. It's just you don't have a lot of your vets around.
I can see very much how it feels like a return to form. The drama we're getting is good, and it's coherent to the story, it's coherent to the narrative.
Yeah.
And I give some of the props to editing. They've been doing this for a long time. I think it's working. From If you listen to all of the rumors, the challenge might be a sinking ship, but I don't believe that for 1 second. I think the fans are going to come through, and I think we have enough of a community to keep it going. Ready to jump in for today?
Yeah, let's get going.
Let's
It's a
go.
good
All
episode.
right. What's really good, pastors? Welcome to another episode of Love, War, Challenges. I am MTV Malik. He is Tyler Louder. What's really good in today's episode? Nani finally gets what's coming to her. Michaela takes all of the blame, and the alliance of Theo and Olivia has really kind of stood throughout the whole game. They kind of had their back against the wall, started lighting it up, and now it's a little bit more even going into this final. Can't be mad at their performance.
Not at all. And I at the very end of this episode, I looked towards my wife and I said, "How did Theo and Olivia make the final?" Like Olivia was like a target day one from Bananas, and then as soon as that kind of Bananas like left, she was still a major target from all like the rookies. And same thing with Theo, got sent in constantly, constantly. And then everybody in the opposite alliance made the mistake of, all right, we've sent him in enough. Let's just destroy our own games and pick ourselves apart. Um, and that's where we got settled into where we're at. And some people are like, nah, I don't care who wins. It sucks this person. I think all four teams in the final deserve to be there.
100%. There's no fluff at this point in the game. It's all been extinguished.
They've all won an elimination. They've all won an elimination.
There's no more layups here. I'm fine with the last four. I'm finally glad that the finals actually started. Um, yeah, I'm with you in this one. It doesn't feel like they don't belong. Nobody feels cheated here. Um, it feels like the right team made it all the way to the end. But I want to start off with so many exciting parts. You know,
Yeah.
the daily was really exciting. The elimination was really exciting, and of course, the A Block drama really delivered. What do you want to start off today?
I mean, I think we can kind of go this traditional way. Let's talk about this whole freak out at club night, where interestingly, we kind of get club night right away. We
Yeah,
get all these notes and everything as well from Will, which is kind of nice. And we get from Aviv to Jeremy, making Jeremy feel better. And what's kind of cool is I think in this game, we see vets acknowledge rookies as you could be a mainstay of the show. You could be a fan favorite. We see that you have the potential to fit in here. We saw it with Horacio
yeah.
and some guys, except for some people were saying he's a little boring, but he's got everything else you need. Like he can develop that drama aspect here in a few seasons. People were praising Olivia for the first few seasons. People are now against Olivia for some reason, but whatever. And she's also pregnant right now, just dominating on the challenge. But we see like Jeremy got advice from CT and he took that advice, kept it in, and now better. Now Aviv is giving him this confirmation, like you made the right choice. It's good. I support you. I hope you win. And then we get Will's letter. to Justin, which he's not even really mad at Justin. He's kind of mad. They could talk about it. He's mad at Nani. Like he's just done with Nani. And
And you know
and
what?
it's kind of funny.
I think it also speaks to Nani's character a little bit that, she was really worried that like Will is leaving his house thinking the worst of me. I thought that was really kind of sweet. But I
Yeah.
also think that she may be a little delusional because if she thinks that she is not a major part of why this has happened, she comes off almost like, oh, this isn't really my fault, and Michaela and them really engineered this. It was both of you guys. You guys imploded on each other as you got close to the final. It's what you
Mhm.
did. It may not have been your intention. Your plan may have went wrong, but you definitely initiated the action. And I'm not really seeing I don't really feel the accountability. I know she said it, but it's just like you do realize that this is
Yeah.
both of your guys' fault. And the fact that Michaela and Cedric is getting a lion's share of the blame for orchestrating it and acting just like, no, everybody wanted this. Yeah, but you're the one who said it out loud. Everybody knows this, but it's easy to put them in. And it's crazy seeing them going from the top, we're having all of these people, to really getting out survived by Olivia and Theo's team. And it getting even up towards the end.
The problem is that uh, let's pull apart a couple people's games. So Michaela and Cedric. So Cedric has been, I'm not going to say a snake, but he's been a chameleon where he is in conversations, adapting and blending in, looking like he is your friend. But he's keeping himself close. So, like, I'm not even mad at the whole, like, where everybody's like, Cedric, you said we were good. You said we were this. And then you go watch all those interviews and all those talks, and Cedric's just agreeing with them. They're saying, oh, yeah, we mean you. And Cedric's like, okay. Like, that's all he's saying. Because he's like, you didn't ride with me in week 1, but now that you need me, now you want me to be in this core group and you need this. So I'm just going to say, okay. Because what's he going to do? No, he can't say that. But he's not coming to them saying, Jeremy, it's me and you till the end. Turbo, it's me and you till the end. They're saying it to him. So I don't even fault Cedric's game. He's blending in, doing what he's supposed to.
Listen, I don't think anybody else would have done anything differently, but yeah, you kind of snaked them. Michaela and Cedric would have done so much better if they would have just come out and just said, yeah, we fucking did it. Yeah, we did
Yeah,
it.
look where we're at now.
But yeah, and we we wouldn't be getting all of this back and forth, all of this narrative making. They could have just said, you know what, we're getting close to the end, and we want to win. If I got to go against, Aviv, if I got to go against Jeremy, the plan went bad. It didn't work out, but there's no sense of trying to talk the way out of it. They just look slick, and this is why everybody's turning on them.
They're and now, yeah, and I agree. And so let's talk about Michaela's game. We can kind of pick that apart. Michaela has been the mastermind behind everything. As much as people want to like look other ways, she has been letting other vets feel comfortable and thinking they're making decisions and they're a part of the core group. It is Michaela's game that we are watching unfold on one side. It is Olivia and Theo's survival, and it is Michaela's game on the other side. Simple as that.
And this is where she messed up. That was going really, really good for her because because it didn't seem like it was Michaela's game. A lot of people didn't
Right.
realize it. As soon as she's the one that they could point out was just saying, hey, you said Aviv and Jeremy, it was over. It was
And that's
over.
true. And then the funny part is she turns and she goes to Sydney and is like, I mean, were you surprised that we did this? And Sydney's like, yeah, I was kind of surprised that you guys were going to do that. It's weird because Sydney has been so arrogantly unlikable this entire season that this episode made her likable.
Well, here
And
goes the
I
thing.
don't know why.
I think she's arrogant in the interviews, not so arrogant in the house.
Well, we kind of see a breakdown with her and Turbo and everything, and how he's treating her, um, and we see during the daily, she's just like, whatever, I can't, and we'll talk about that in a second about all these people. I can't ride a bike, and then they're all thriving at riding a bike, but we'll get that in a second. Um, and then, but Sydney's really coming along as like a strong character. Now, there's talks and everything. Everybody kind of knows that she had a miserable time in the house and miserable time on the challenge, that she will probably never come back, which sucks because I think she's such a gamer and could do well in almost every season. And I think she would do well in endurance eliminations, puzzles, physical. I really think she could kind of do well in everything.
I can't help but think that Sydney is what Amanda was supposed to be.
But yeah, I think that's fair. I think, yeah, that's the difference is that, I mean, Sydney's got more strength on her and more conditioning. Um, and for some reason, more likable. But I think Sydney's quieter. Like Amanda could be the exact same player, but when she's in the house, she just talks too much. And for us, it's great. For your game, it's not. Simple as that. So then let's pick one more person's game down, and let's pick Nani's game down. The problem is that Nani doesn't have contingency plans ever. If something doesn't go right, she's almost lost on what move to make or what to do. Hence, sending in Will and Aviv, because she's like, well, I'm not riding with her, I'm riding with you. Okay, well, you're not riding with Olivia and Jeremy, and they're right there to be voted for. Like, in your head, that should just be, okay, that's my only vote, you know? And even if it sends me in, this is the difference between somebody that is like, I'm going to vote for this way because I'm not going to vote my alliance in. And if it sends me in, so be it. Those competitors win championships eventually.
I agree with you 100%. Not having to, you see what happens when she gets busted out. She has no idea what to jump to. She can't answer the questions quickly. She can't come up with the stuff enough. She deflects. And it was it was kind of embarrassing to watch because it's like, you're a
Mm-hmm.
veteran. You've been doing this for such a long time. You should already know. And even just to overcommit so much to a plan that if it starts breaking apart, you just get stuck out there. It was like watching a deer in headlights. And it hurts to say somebody who's been in this game for so long really just made a bonehead move at a bonehead time and wasn't quiet about it enough. Going to Aviv was disastrous.
Yeah. No,
Disastrous.
and we see this happens in Survivor all the time, where people will just kind of let it slip a little bit, and the whole game is done. For that round, the whole plan is out the window. And it's like, if there is a potential chance for somebody to have an out, why would you give them a heads up? And it doesn't, none of it adds up, because she goes in the nomination before, the week before, she goes, I don't fuck with her. I'm not playing a game with her. But then you wanted to be nice enough to give her the heads up because you want to be a good person. Those two things don't add up. So, but that's enough to picking on 2 weeks ago.
But also,
Funny
if you're
moments.
playing a super cutthroat game, all of a sudden not being cutthroat isn't going to advance you any further.
I would rather explain myself at the reunion after I've won a big check and I've been claimed champion than lose my momentum. Simple as that. And so, funny moments, real quick. We can touch on this A block drama and everything. The camera kept cutting to Turbo, just playing
Ab-
video games, sound
Absolutely
effects.
hilarious. He could care less. He has no,
Jeremy's just eating food and just
because you know what? They was watching people, specifically Nani, and to a better extent, Michaela, people who've been so quiet, who've been doing so much stuff behind the scenes, and they know that they have, and they're just watching it all blow up. Man, it is nice sometimes to sit back and watch the world burn, especially when somebody else lit the match.
it's so crazy that like the emotional gaslighting that people do when they get somebody riled up and go, "Why are you yelling? I'm being calm." As if that's gonna like that stuff would piss me off and be like,
Oh
because
man.
the situation calls for me to yell at you. And none of these people even know in that Nani was still being pretty mellow.
Yeah.
I mean, go back to like Rivals 3 and it's like Nani and Camilla, like best friends, like
Like, she's fired up, but she's fired up, and it's like a controlled fire.
yeah.
It's nice to see her getting riled up, but you know it's not going to get out of control. Nobody's going to flip a chair or stand on a table at this point. Aggressive clapping of the hands and taking out the earrings is about as far as it's going to go. So I thoroughly enjoyed it.
So now let's move on to what happens next, and we get this global exchange daily. Pretty fun daily.
It's never a bad idea when they do geography. Nobody
I
knows
yeah.
geography as well as they think they do.
Nobody knows anything. And the best part too is that partners have to be riding bikes together, going from one globe to another. Essentially, one part of the globe has the Americas, North and South America, and then the other part of the globe has Eastern and Africa and Australia and everything on it too, on the other half of the world. And you can only take two countries back and forth at a time, and you have to ride, I don't know how much it was. It was 0.62 miles
Is that
was
a,
each
a kilometer,
one
right?
kilometer. Yep, 1 kilometer. So, and back and forth. And so it was kind of interesting because we get this moment of how conditioned are you? how knowledgeable are you? How well do you work as a team? And we see the differences where we have somebody like Theo just riding a bike and going, and he just has this. Theo's such a terrible partner that he has no idea that like he needs to go a little slower and not drag Adrian, and then she falls over. And then we see Yermi, and he goes, Olivia, ride as best you can, and I will match your pace. Like, and you see the difference in partners on how well they work with people. Yeah.
100%. Having a great partner, you know, having a great supportive partner has gotten people over into championships. It was really great seeing Sydney and Turbo do well with all of the back and forth and stuff. They know when to lock in, just like it's game time. And even though Sydney, she swings between likable and unlikable, she's one
Mhm.
hell of a performer. Like she is coming, she's not messing around. I thought I didn't feel bad for where Michaela and Cedric ended up. Um, I
There's more in that, by the way.
Right,
There's
how
more
bad
in
do you
that.
think that ankle really is, though, at this point?
Well, I think it is bad. However, she went on recently on a podcast, I think with Bananas, and said that they pretty much threw the daily because they weren't going to give everybody the satisfaction of voting them in, and so they got last. But here's the fault in that, real quick. Um, it's a lot of talk thinking that you already lost, right? So you can say you threw it, right? And you knew that if Turbo and Sydney won, you were getting Nani and Justin. So it didn't really matter to you. However, the problem lies, what if Theo and Adrian get last place and Sydney and Turbo still win? You and Nani, if you didn't have this stupid fight, could have voted in Olivia and Jeremy. And then you're both in the finals for safe. So I think it's just kind of like it's backtracking a little bit. There's been a lot of postseason interviews that have shown Michaela kind of backtracking decisions she made during the show. And so it's leaving fans not knowing what's the truth exactly. Um, but yeah, that's what they said is that they kind of threw it, and they were the first ones done and they ended early and they only got 8.
I think
So
I think Michaela is doing fine, but she's backtracking because even though everybody's playing Michaela's game, Michaela's decisions aren't always 100% right. And they're not
yeah.
as 100% thought out through as she would like to think. Like you just said, that vote could have gone a very, very different way if somebody else actually loses. So it's easy. You're right. It's easy to come out here and just say, like, yeah, we threw it. We didn't really care, to try to save face a little bit. But guess what? We've seen some of the greatest go down in some of the jankiest eliminations and dailies. Just own it. I don't
I
really
mean,
feel like Michaela
Jeremy,
owns it.
yeah, that's the truth. And like Jeremy and Olivia they only lost by 2 points to Sydney and Turbo. So I realistically, that whole thing could have been shifted. If Turbo and Nani are both in the voting, they're not gonna send each other in. They would have sent it so so it's like if Michaela and them beat Nani and Justin and they were last and they voted with Turbo, well, they're gonna vote in whichever one of the couple is in the voting with them. So it doesn't make any sense from the aspect of like I don't know. It doesn't make sense at this point to throw it and go in unless her ankle was very hurt and she was like, either we're going to send a team home and look good or I'm going to go home because my ankle's hurt. And I do think her ankle is severely hurt. We kind of see it in the preview next week and everything. Yeah, Sydney and Turbo get the win. They get 20 of 32 countries. I think it was 32 they could pick from. I'm kind of disappointed that people like didn't like Nani and Justin only got 9. Nani's been on like 16 challenge seasons, which means she's been in 16 different countries at least. And she's been to like 3 or 4 finals with relocations. So you should know about 20 different countries offhand.
100%. And in some cases, you think two brains would be better than one. They couldn't get it together, and it's always kind of funny to watch. But I was actually watching this daily, and I was realizing I was just like, you know what? I don't know a lot of these countries either. Some of them are smaller. Some of
Sure.
them not as old as other countries. So I was a little bit less confident. I felt less likely to make fun of them just because I didn't know as much.
Now let's talk about one last thing on this daily because I mean the daily's pretty straightforward. Um, all these people saying they can't ride bikes. Michaela's cruising, she's fine. Ankle does hurt, but she's doing good. Turbo doesn't really know how to ride a bike. The final Turbo won. They had to ride 24 miles of bike,
It's like
and
we've
he
seen you
did
do
well.
this.
Yeah, we like, and not only that, there are other people in the comments that were talking about it that he was riding standing up. You don't just like do that if you've never ridden a bike and you don't know how to ride a bike. Your first instinct isn't, let's take my butt off the seat and stand while I pedal. Like nobody does that. And so it's this whole thing is like to make it seem like there's no chance they could win. Oh man, it's gonna be so difficult for us. No, you're fine.
It's
Stop.
acting. It's acting. It's like doing a feint in boxing. It's a sell. It's a long con. You ever seen the
It's a
prestige?
story.
Yeah, yeah. They're trying to sell it. The only problem is they think that people are buying it, and it's just not happening. It reminds me when uh and I'm forgetting their name, but it was Dustin and somebody, and they were supposed to go into exile. Um, and
Jessica.
I'm sorry.
Jessica.
Yes, they were supposed to go into exile. They didn't have to go. Came back, started lying about it. Everybody started picking apart.
Oh no. You're talking about CJ and Sydney
CJ and Sydney,
on
yes.
Fresh Meat 2 when they went up against Brandon and Caitlin, and Brandon decided to have a couple beers
Beer,
before in
and
the
they wouldn't let
morning.
him. They wouldn't let him perform. What an
Yes.
idiotic thing to do.
Yes.
Idiotic thing to do.
Man, and I think we're off topic here for a second, but I think the challenge thought CJ was their next golden boy,
He had the
and
looks.
he had the looks and just fell off. Like that season, poor. Then Battle of the Seasons comes on, plays well, but gets screwed over by John A. and sent home, and then yeah.
I think more seasons out of him would have been great, and it would be great to see him on the All Stars too. So
Yeah. Well, the vote's straightforward. Nani and Justin, 3 votes go in. There's no discussion here.
I love spicy nominations, but I think we got so much of the drama in the A block, and there was just none here. I think they
Yeah.
did the right thing by extending that A block out and really focusing on the drama and just not playing with any of the BS when it came down to the nominations.
And they talked about how nobody could stake a claim because there's already been a claim staked for Nani and Justin,
Mhm.
and same thing with Olivia and Jeremy. So because of that, nobody else can stake claims on those teams or even leave those teams, which is explanation that I didn't fully clear up until like now. One thing I will say, and we'll get to this at the very end and everything, there's so many people I'm seeing posts, I'm seeing TikTok people that cover the challenge that are now going, for the first time in challenge history, there's going to be no OGs in the final, except for 39, which didn't have any and everything. And I'm like, yeah, I said that 2 weeks ago,
Yes.
letting everybody know this potentially could be a thing.
Everybody
And
knows
that's
you
the
was on
world we
it.
live in. We live in a copycat world is all we live in. That's all I see. But Balls in 2.0. Let's talk about it.
I liked it compared to the original. I think it's a good change. I think it keeps the action up and it keeps the overall time of the elimination down. You don't need every elimination to go 3 hours. So I felt like this was a good addition, or at least a very good variation that I wouldn't mind seeing in the future.
I feel like the what we saw on TV, like the editing a part of it and everything, was longer than the actual competition. Like I think we saw like 10 minutes of competition, it seemed like. I think this thing took 60 seconds for both of them.
I noticed a small rule change. I've seen it before, but it became really, really blatant during this elimination. And that's once they're in the inner circle, you kind of just gotta let them
Mhm.
go and score. Mm, it softens it up a little bit. I think it's for safety.
It's the Cara Maria change. If you go back to Fresh Meat, she was facing off against Jessica. Jessica tackled her all the way through,
Huh?
and she
Broke
broke
her
her
hand.
arm. Yep,
Oh, yeah.
her broke her hand putting the ball in. And so I think Challenge kind of saw like, that screwed Cara Maria that
So
season
bad,
because of
so
that rule.
bad. She was destined to win that one too.
And even if she didn't, I
Well,
think she would have won because Laurel only beat Nani by 9 minutes, and that's because Nani threw a fit doing the 25 miles on the pedal bike and took like a 30-minute break. I think Cara would have beat her on that in the final. I really do. But it just really kind of screwed her over. So it's more of a safety thing. I don't know if we've had balls in after that where they didn't have that, but we've seen rules where like even like the ring, pulling the ring and go hanging it on a hook.
yeah.
Once you get out of the circle, they don't tackle you anymore by the hook and everything and by the post. So it is a safety thing. I think the problem, the space that they can fight in is too small. Like that needs to be bigger. If you're going to give them
About 3-point line.
yeah, exactly. Like if you're going to give them so much space in the middle to get to a safe zone, there needs to be like 15 yards of battle area, in my opinion, or just make the ring smaller, make the hoop something.
I think
Because
that makes
the hoop size doesn't matter anymore, right? Because now all you got to do is get to the circle and you can nicely place it
No,
in.
man, we seen some pretty tight ones where they had to get in and pretty much like dunk it in.
Right, but we don't have to have that anymore because there's that safety zone. So like you can
Yeah,
make it
you can make it
exactly the
bigger.
size of the ball. Yeah. So you make it a little bit bigger, make the safety zone smaller, make the hole, the hoop smaller to make it fit. But I will say, going both at the same time, it is kind of entertaining. For us fans, I don't think it really matters too much because you're only seeing one person at a time. Maybe it just helps with editing to cut it up. But to be honest, outside of Justin having a couple nice spin moves, this was like a 95% domination.
It was
And
bad.
I felt bad.
It was not great to watch. And they just put up such a pathetic attempt at defense. I feel like they were trying really, really hard, and that somehow makes it worse.
I think they did the best they could. I honestly think that it wasn't even a bad attempt. It was just that was the best they could do. We normally see these eliminations like I feel like these eliminations are normally like in the first half of the season where it's like, all right, we finally got them in. And it's like, of course, they just get an advantage in an elimination. We wasted our
I didn't
opportunities
feel that watching them
versus
go
like
in.
but like the very end, I'm sitting here and it's like they just gave Cedric and Michaela a win by having this elimination here. We could have had this elimination last week, or we could have had it 2 weeks ago when it was Adrian and Theo versus Anissa and Jake. This would have been a
That
beautiful
would have been
because
great.
size wise, it would have felt a little better. Adrian and Anissa, that'd have been a great battle. You know, last time Anissa did this, she busted her ankle again, so she could have redemption.
Isn't she still
Ashley,
the record holder for most elimination attempts?
most elimination attempts, yeah, I think so. Well, it's either her or Wes.
I think she beat Wes. Wes hasn't been very active.
I know, but but it also depends on like, do you count like spinoffs like I do?
I think we
Because
should.
if we're gonna give mercenaries elimination wins for a game that they didn't even play in but came in for one elimination, then I think we have to kind of give credit to that because you gotta remember Wes has All Stars 3 has an elimination. Champs vs. Pros has 3 more eliminations. Champs vs. Stars has another elimination. So
I
and
gotta
Champs
check
vs.
the
Stars
exact
2
numbers
has
on that.
another one. So that's like 6 more eliminations included in his other like 25 that he has. So I think Anise is probably in that 30 club. I know actually I think Bananas has the most eliminations.
Ah,
Because I think Bananas is like 15 and 16 or something like that. And Anise is about the same. I'd have to look it up. I actually don't know that exact number just because once you get that high, yeah.
yeah. I know on the women's side, it's definitely Anissa. I think it's Anissa than Cara.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably fair. I'm gonna pull this up, and it might slow down our entire thing, but I'm gonna
You,
find this out because
well, while you're
that's what I
doing that,
do.
let me ask you. I mean, look, Michaela and Cedric, they flung Nani and Justin. Do you think this made them look stronger, or did you think it made Nani and Justin look weaker?
I mean, I think it made them. It just made Michaela and Cedric look like what we thought they were. I mean, Cedric's been talking about for weeks that he's like this dog. Like, get him in there, let him just show what he's got.
He didn't disappoint.
And yeah, so I think it just kind of showed how strong they actually were. And so, yeah. And same thing with Michaela. I mean, Michaela's the only way this elimination would have been more fair is if it was Michaela versus Sydney or Michaela versus Olivia.
Yes, I think Olivia has her on the size there, but her versus Sydney is going to be great. They're both really, really scrappy, really, really athletic, really, really competitive. That one would be one to watch. I expected Nani and Justin to put up so much more of a fight than what I've seen from them. I do feel like the effort was there, but it kind of just hurt to watch. And it kind of hurt to watch Nani, a true veteran, get this far and watch it all slip out of her fingers again. I do think Justin will be back though. I did like Justin. I think he did really well. He got out Rogan, which is, nothing. It's not saying nothing. So
Yeah, so I mean, it's I think so too. I think almost everybody that was kind of at this like mainstay. I'm looking at like the final 6. I think they're all callbacks. So Anissa has 29 eliminations,
mm,
but she also has 2 redemptions, 1 mercenary. She has 1 on champs versus pros and stars and stuff, and then she has 2 on all stars. That elimination she's been in. But again, depends on if you're counting all those because if we are, I mean, that's 33, 35. So that's 35. Bananas has been on 30 mainstays, so 1 more mainstay. He's also won 4 Battle of the Exiled. been in a redemption.
That is the exile should count
He's
too.
he's been in 2 eliminations on Chance for Stars, and he's been in 2 eliminations on the global seasons as well with USA and World Championships. So like Bananas has been in about probably 40 total when you include redemptions and all those other stuff. So and then the only other person we have to look at is Wes Bergman. And this is where, okay, so Wes has only been in 23 mainstay eliminations, 14 and 9. But he's been on 5 champs eliminations. So now he's up to 28. He's been on an All-Stars elimination, 29, and he's been in 3 global eliminations as well for 32. So for counting every show, it goes Bananas, Anissa, Wes.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And you know what? It shows that Anissa is a dog, but it shows that her political game could use a little bit of help.
Yeah, I think here's a big thing that I think we can kind of talk about before we jump into a little tiny bit about the final. We see a lot of people online that are like, man, I wish this person would stop doing the show. Like, oh, if you're not in shit, get out of the show. But then we get these seasons where everybody is a supermodel and they're all fit and they're all dogs. And then everybody goes, oh man, this season's so boring. It's so, because all these guys don't, yeah, that's why Anissa's there. That's why Nani's there. That's why Ashley's there.
They know how to make good TV.
They know how to make good TV for the women's side. And as much as everybody wants to dog on Anissa and Nani, I mean, Nani's stretch of her last 5 seasons has been fantastic.
Absolutely.
We're talking Double Agents getting 3rd place, Spies, Lies, and Allies going out to Casey in an elimination in the final, getting 5th place, to Ride or Dies getting 2nd place, to returning on All Stars 5, getting 5th place, to now returning here on 41, getting 5th place. She has not finished outside the top 5 in her past 5 seasons.
That's super impressive. She's almost like the Buffalo Bills. Or maybe
Sure,
even the
that's
Ravens.
fair.
Like
But
real deep playoff runs, man.
We have to give her credit though. If in Double Agents, if she wasn't partnered with Leroy, she probably wins. Because Leroy and her they got 3rd place. You know, if she's partnered with Corey or CT, she wins. In Spies, Lies, and Allies, if she doesn't have to go on elimination against Casey and it's anybody else, she probably could win that.
You know what? But both Nani and Anissa have had some great partners.
Sure, but I don't think Nani's list of partners has actually been really good.
It's amazing. It's probably
if
the
you
best.
go back, let's talk about it. Like Rivals 2, she's partnered with John A. Young John A, but still, that's a really good group that can do a lot of things. She's on Rivals 3 with Wes. She got to be partnered with Bananas as well. She got to be partnered with Turbo. Justin's her weakest partner she's ever had.
Yes, by far. But everybody has a rookie partner.
But yeah, and here's what I will say though is that she went out with Grace.
Yes.
Everybody's dogging her this whole season. She went out with Grace. She played a great game. She was the last OG standing.
And great on the drama.
Great on the drama. And
great
I think she was burnt out. Yeah, that's
a classic Nani. Can't be mad. She's been doing this. This could be her free agent season, man. This is what Nani does. She's fiery. She's gonna hook up with somebody, maybe. Not that there's anything wrong with that. She's gonna perform decently well, and then right before the final or in the early parts of the final, her number gets called. Keep bringing Nani back. Why get rid of her?
I mean, she was also besides this season in All Stars. She was also in the last elimination on War of the Worlds 2. She kind of got screwed over on World of the Worlds 1. I'm trying to think of other seasons that she was in that kind of didn't go her way. I mean, she got sent home on Bloodlines because of her, because of her bloodline, not because of her.
Yeah, it wasn't her fault. And she's had some bad luck, but she's also had some great luck and some great partners. So
yeah, battle the seasons Alton through to go home, so she got sent home.
Here's what the funny thing is. Out of all of the people who's been playing for a long time and hasn't won a championship, you think that their ship has sailed and it's over for them? I don't necessarily feel that way about Nani.
No, because here's the thing. Every single person that is on that, and we can revisit that list, obviously, that we made a long time ago.
Leroy's and Anissa's.
Right. Every single person on that best to never win list except for Nani, has one thing that she doesn't, and it's they have a very early exit in a season. Nani doesn't have those. Like, Nani makes it to the halfway point or further almost every single time. Like, almost, like, Corey went home first one time. Leroy went home first last season.
She's
So it's like,
consistent.
exactly. She just doesn't have that, like, final thing to get over in the final part, but that doesn't mean she's a bad competitor.
No, not
And
at
I
all.
will say, I've been seeing a lot of comments, especially after last week's episode with the airplane elimination. And I want to touch on this, and we need to probably do a deep dive solo video on this, where everybody's going, man, I wish it was the OG seasons where they had real eliminations
That
and it was
voice.
this and that. First of all, what do you mean real eliminations? For every balls in and hall brawl we see and not so fast, there was once an elimination between Jody and Veronica where they had to spin toilet paper on them and make themselves a mummy and hop 10 feet to a flag. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
Right.
we've literally saw, we've just seen some pretty bad ones. We once saw it was Katie versus, was it Ace? And it was something like that. And they had to like hold their breath with bugs.
Yeah.
Bugs around their head.
Or my favorite one, the fly swatter one, just smacking them in the face. Come on, the challenge has stepped up the game over the years, so the competitors are going to have to step up too. And guess what? Your favorite competitors are pushing 50 and they got bad knees. We wasn't gonna have them forever. Be grateful we had them for as long as we did.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing too. That some people are like, well, we need this, we need that. Well, if we're being real, we did get a pole wrestle. It just was CT versus Derek. So it wasn't as, dramatic as we wanted.
Exactly.
We did get a balls in. It
I'm
just
not mad
wasn't
at
as
it.
dramatic as you wanted. I mean, not everything can be a Wes versus Derek pole wrestle, a Derek versus Josh pole wrestle, a CJ versus Zach Hall brawl.
Yes.
Not everything can be these. And I think what's great about the challenge is when they throw something at you and you sit there and you go, I don't know who could win this. That's the best elimination. When you saw it was balls in, did you have any bit of you that was like, Nani and Justin could win this?
Not at all.
Not at
Not
all.
at all.
I just sat there and I was like, all right, well, I could watch this because I watch it a day later, or I could fast forward it and get to where I know I need to be.
It wasn't really that interesting to watch. They got flung.
Yeah. And what's great though, see, now let's dive a little deeper. When we get like a hall brawl and it's Tori versus Jenny, and you go, Jenny should win this, but Tori could win this. And then Tori destroys her. That's when you get moments.
I was thoroughly surprised. Thoroughly
and
surprised.
It shouldn't be. At the time, that was looked at as an upset.
Oh, yeah.
If they redid it now, you'd be like a 50-50.
Right.
Like, you wouldn't think that.
No,
so.
it was definitely an upset. It was definitely shocking. It's nice to have a show that has so many leaks and spoilers. It's nice to be surprised every once in a while.
Absolutely. And you know what? I will tell you right now. I do know who wins this season because it got spoiled for me a couple of weeks ago in a comment section.
Oh, that sucks.
But here's what I want to say though. I still am excited to see how this whole thing plays out because I don't know if it's a blowout. I don't know if it's close. I don't know if these are timed in points. So I'm excited to see, is that spoiler wrong? Because it was just a comment from like a fan on something. Is that comment wrong? Because I have seen somebody go, like, I think it was 40. And somebody was like, well, it doesn't matter because they said like Jordan and Tori win this whole thing. And then it was like Jordan won, but Tori didn't, So it's one of those things like, is this person right? Or are they just saying something? Are they just saying comment? If they're right, then whatever. But I will say this. We have a 7 out of 8 chance to get a new champion. Like, we're guaranteed 1 new champion.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a 75% chance that we get 2 new champions if Turbo and Sydney don't win. So it's pretty exciting that we are guaranteed new champions because we talk about this all the time. If they ever want to do a champs versus contenders season, we'd need newer champs. Simple as that.
And I'm definitely fine with any of these ladies going in and getting a win. I do think that probably at the midpoint, they're going to switch them to all individual, which is, I don't know, a sickness, which I don't think they should do. I think the duo should win. So hopefully they keep those together. I'm okay with whoever's winning. Did you feel disappointed when you found out who won?
I'll say this right now before I answer that question. I think all 4 teams that are in the final 100% deserve it. And whoever wins will be like, all right, Like, cool.
I'm
Like,
with you.
I'm not in the point where I'm disappointed with any of these teams winning because every single point of their game, I think I can celebrate. Like, I can look at Turbo and Sydney and be like, they were at the top of everybody's list the entire time, and they won. They're great. Or Theo and Adrian, they got sent into 4 eliminations. They won them all, and they won. I'd be great with that. Or we go Michaela and Cedric. Michaela manipulated this entire game
And
and
without
then
people
won.
knowing, like some real
Right.
inception shit.
Yep. And then I'd be good. Or Jeremy and Olivia, where they're the last minute team put together. Olivia's apparently pregnant that we didn't even know this. Jeremy's been the golden boy since episode 1 and they couldn't get him out. And everybody wanted Olivia out. If they win, I'd be fine. So every team has a quality to them that makes me go, if they win, they deserve it and I'm okay with it.
I love that every team has a great narrative and a great story behind them. You can also find yourself rooting for any one of these teams. One, there's nobody's here who is a staunch, just fan favorite. Olivia has went from both in such a short amount of time. So anybody could really root for anybody. It's just like when 4 random teams make the Final Four, you're just like, well, let's just enjoy basketball. It kind of
Right.
feels like that here. I feel like the stories are great. I feel like the eliminations have been good. The dailies, I thought could have been a little bit better, but I'm not disappointed. And the drama's been top tier. People who are saying they are bored with the season don't know what they're talking about and don't know what they want.
Exactly. And I think they're just like growing up, maturing, and they're stuck in the way of nostalgia is the most dangerous drug in the world.
Facts.
Like, I mean, everybody can say drugs are the most dangerous drug in the world, but I'm saying nostalgia is because it puts you in a state of thinking where you're at isn't as good as where it used to be. However, where you used to be got you to where you are. So you need to appreciate where you are. As simple as that. If I was still living how I was when I was 20, I would go back and kick my own ass when I was 20 if I could.
I would have heart failure.
Yeah. but like for real, I just I think that's the big thing. People have nostalgia over this. And as somebody, I will say this, I am a resident challenge diehard that in my spare time, I work for media, I work for news. When I'm waiting on them to edit my story, Pluto TV is on my third screen with the challenge season just rolling. When I'm folding laundry and I don't have any show to watch, the challenge is just rolling for me and I'm watching old seasons. OG seasons have some great things to them, but also there are seasons I go, ugh, I don't need to watch this at all. It's bad to watch. And so like that. And so yeah, simple as that.
Simple as that. Well, do we have to touch on anything else before we go on and dip on up out of here?
No, but we are going to do a reverse because now that we are in the final, we can kind of talk about it next week with the twist, but right now off the top of your head, you're going to have the pen and paper in your hand and you're going to power rank the 4 teams in order that you think they will finish. If everybody stays partners, tell me right now your power rankings on who you think is getting first, second, third, and fourth off the rip. Because like I said, I can't give you my power rankings on this. So I want you to go ahead.
All right. On the spot.
Who's getting last place right now? If you had to pick,
Who's getting last
who's
place?
getting
You
who's
know
getting
what?
last?
They really made this show the ankle injury. So I think Michaela's ankle injury gets her, and she knows when to quit when she gets hurt. Which isn't a criticism, but if she's hurt, then she's hurt.
In the preview, they make it. I mean, obviously, editing can add noises, but it sounds like a pretty bad crack.
Oh
When
yeah,
when like they do
I'm
it,
pretty sure it's edited. I'm pretty sure it
I think it's
just
editing too, but it sounds bad.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it just sprained and it's just going to get aggravated.
Yeah,
3. I hate to say this because I think Theo's going to do well, but Theo also kind of he did great in eliminations, but kind of underperformed in the dailies. And if he
yeah.
performed this elimination in that matter, I got him and Adrian at number 3. Even though I think they're pretty interchangeable with also Turbo and Sydney. I think either one of those could be 2 or 3, which means it's hard to bet against Olivia and Jeremy right now. Olivia showed that she is so much more capable than what she looks like, and Jeremy has showed you he's just as capable as what he looks like. So that's kind of dangerous. I think just overall, they're going to be so good where these other teams just aren't going to be able to keep up.
And it does look like they locate to like a colder climate area, which is kind of cool because they've been participating in like a really hot area. It's always interesting when they do that. Like when you have a season in a cold area and then move to a hot spot, or vice versa, versus just staying in the same spot. Because it looks like Turbo starts getting like chills and is cold. We know, like being from Turkey, like he doesn't do well in the cold weather
I
really.
like cold
Which
finals.
here's the thing. I don't like finals where like X is one, where they're completely bundled up in coats and you have no idea who they are unless they have a name tag on them.
That
I don't like that.
I'm guessing that was colder than what was expected, though.
Yeah. But here's what I will say though, that is right now we are going to see a couple different things. Is Theo's return to a final. I mean, Theo did really well on almost every season he's in. He does very well. And the
And
last
he
time he
had
was
to
in a
fight.
final,
He had to fight this season.
yeah. And the last time he was in a final, he busted his ankle with and that was on World Championships. In the final before that, he got second place to Turbo. We see with Turbo now in Sydney, they've had this like argument of like feeling comfortable around each other and everything for at least Sydney's part. And now Turbo's dealing with this cold. So is that going to be an obstacle that he can overcome? With Michaela and Cedric, the ankle, we talked about it. With Jeremy and Olivia, what's interesting about them is that the narratives are different for them. All season long, we've been told, don't let Jeremy get to a final. Don't let Jeremy get to a final. Don't let Jeremy get to a final. But then all season, we've been hearing this narrative from Will that Olivia is whatever. You're with her now. She's not that good. She can't run. She's not that strong as she thinks she is. She's overrated. She's also pregnant. But then we've heard other people say like Olivia's could do everything. Like Michaela said that.
Mm-hmm.
Like Olivia can carry what Aviv can't. So what narrative is true? You know, is Jeremy able to? We see this with other people. We see it with Fessy. Like Jeremy and Fessy are the same guy to me, kind of more humble one for Jeremy. But I'm saying you do great during this regular season. You do great during the endurance stuff. But you get to a final where they add in a puzzle. They add in eating. They add in long distance. They add in terrain that you're not used to. How well do you do with all those elements? And we see that Fessy hasn't been able to adapt.
Right.
Can Jeremy adapt?
It looks like he can. And with Olivia, it really looks like she tried to play the I'm not trying to win, I'm not trying to lose card. She wanted to be in the middle every single time, and I think a little bit of that
Yeah.
was engineered. And I was always wondering, like, does Will not see it? She's trying to make sure you guys don't win, but just doing enough where you guys don't come in last. Because
I
it's
think she just didn't tell him at all. Like at all.
yeah, it didn't
'Cause he
really
was
seem
so
like they were
mad.
communicating. Because if she wasn't going to communicate that, Will would probably fight against it.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that's just like he's a rookie type thing and just wants to win and everything and doesn't understand protecting other people. I also think like going in up until last episode, Will was the most protected person in the house.
Super protected.
Considering everybody on Olivia's side wasn't going to vote in Olivia and everybody on Nani's side wasn't going to vote in Will.
And
like he was safe.
And he got to go crazy in the house. Usually when you go crazy in the house, you
Twice. Twice. He went crazy twice. I mean, go back to, what was it, Dirty 30? Whenever somebody had a bad night, they were voted in like the next day.
Exactly.
Almost so many times. And he went crazy over the D thing and had a freak out. And then he went crazy over the cheating thing at the mini final. And nobody even said his name.
He is such a sassy little bitch, and I need to have him every season. He's good to go. He's good to go. All right.
Same.
That's going to do it for us. Once again, I am MTV Malik. He is Tyler Louder. This is Love, War, Challenges. Peace.